downtown area. Again, starting to make a loop around this neighborhood, making another left turn now southbound on Coronado Street off of Temple here in the Westlake District, possibly looking for an area to dump the vehicle. Again, he's not traveling terribly fast, but he is believed to be armed and dangerous. Now southbound on Rampart as these units continue to follow the suspect through the streets of the Westlake District just to the east, or west rather, of downtown LA. Again, traveling southbound now on Rampart. Now another left turn back onto Beverly where he was just a few moments ago. Again, very limited information on the suspects here, but again, these are believed to be armed robbery suspects, or at least one. Again, several people have been dropped off during this pursuit. Through a red light. Eastbound on Beverly, now approaching Rosemont Avenue. Slowing down a bit. LAPD with their nights on him there, the airship circling overhead, about 5 to 6 units right on his tail, applying a bit of pressure here, but he doesn't seem to be sweating too much. He's actually slowing down for this red light here at Alvarado Street, looking to go through cross traffic here if it lets up. Sure enough, right through the red light there. They're going to make the red light with them. There are a little bit of cross traffic there. There's a unit right there coming southbound on Alvarado. He may join the pursuit. Look at this though. We're talking about upwards of 10 units behind the suspect now. There are, this is almost doubled in size from about a half dozen to close to a dozen black and whites right behind him now, making a northbound turn onto Bonnie Bray. Slowing down yet again. This is turning into more of a slow speed pursuit as they follow the suspect through the Westlake District. He's already done a few S's through here, a couple of loops around the same general vicinity. Maybe he's familiar with this area, perhaps. Certainly not out of the question. You can see him now making a right turn. These are all residential streets for the most part. But thankfully, he is traveling about 20-25 miles per hour. Another southbound turn. These appear to be random turns. Now southbound on Union Avenue. Coming back onto Beverly through the red light there, southbound on Union Avenue, making the left turn at the red onto Beverly Boulevard once again, now onto another side street here, making a right turn off of Beverly onto 2nd Street. Southbound Union, actually, southbound Union. Again, some of these streets are starting to repeat themselves, and that is going to allow for the possibility of a spike strip if they can get units ahead of this suspect who is traveling at just the right speed for a well-executed spike strip. We'll see if they employ that tactic here. If they can get in front of him, they will lay down some spikes and hopefully start to bleed out the air in those tires. Again, he's going southbound on Union Avenue, now coming out on 3rd Street here. He's got the red light. He's going to slow down for it, and he's going to make a left turn. Left turn onto westbound 3rd Street. Eastbound. Now southbound off of 3rd Street onto Columbia Avenue, again traveling at slow speeds, kind of zigzagging his way here through the Rampart Division. LAPD hot on his tail with upwards of 10 to 12 units with their lights and sirens blaring. Code 3, the airship up overhead. Again, the suspect believed to be armed and involved in multiple armed robberies here. So they are desperate to get this guy off the road. Doesn't appear they're going to let up much, and he is giving them every opportunity to follow along here, and he's doing so at a snail's pace now as he makes his way through the neighborhood here, now onto 6th Street, off of Columbia. Eastbound 6th, another right turn. If he keeps zigzagging like this, it makes it a little bit difficult to set up for that spike strip, but if they see an opportunity, they will take it. Southbound Whitmer at another red light, going through the red light. We'll go ahead and widen out just a second, Rob. Just want to count those units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units sticking with this pursuit. Several of them have pulled back a bit, but they have a full pursuit package in tow here as he makes his way down Whitmer Street. Now making another left turn. That's going to take him towards the 110 freeway and eventually into the high rises of downtown LA, where this will become much more complicated and a much tougher endeavor for everybody involved as he starts to encounter plenty of hiding spots, lots of buildings to hide in, and lots of parking garages to dump that vehicle. Continuing straight through towards the 110 freeway. Over the 110 into downtown LA. They're going to stay right on his tail because this is about to get much tougher for that air unit overhead. Very difficult to keep eyes on a suspect through all these buildings, as you can tell from our vantage point. We're just kind of peering through here as he comes up on Flower Street, going straight through Flower on 7th Street, deeper into downtown. Light traffic, but not, there's a handful of pedestrians out there. Again, this is downtown LA where there is less car traffic at this hour, but lots of folks out and about walking around, taking a stroll. You can see them now coming southbound on Hope. Southbound Hope coming up on 9th Street now. At a red light, through the red light. Committed to Hope. Continuing southbound with about a half a dozen units right behind him. LAPD doing their level best. But even though he's traveling relatively slowly, the hopes of executing a spike strip are dwindling as he makes his way through downtown LA, now approaching the 10 freeway as he continues down Hope Street. There's that air unit right overhead. LAPD Air Ops trying to maintain a visual here and trying to provide some guidance for those units down below there. Right now, though, this is going to fall on them to stay right behind him and not lose him. There's just so many hiding spots in downtown LA as we make our way past LA Live, right past the Crypto as he continues southbound. Southbound Hope through 11th Street, coming up on Pico Boulevard. And a right turn on Pico is going to be going westbound now towards the 110 freeway with the possibility of getting near an on-ramp here. Somebody crossing the street here. He's slowing down for pedestrian traffic, but continuing through the red light. Now a southbound turn onto Flower from Pico. Southbound Flower through Venice. There's the 10 freeway going underneath the Santa Monica freeway here. coming out in South LA as he continues to travel southbound on Flower Street now. Appears to be committed to Flower, where there is still yet less traffic and less pedestrian traffic as well. There is a unit who might have been setting up for a spike, but he is continuing now onto Washington Boulevard, making a left turn onto Washington eastbound from Flower Street. The suspect still refusing to pull over here. Again, this is a Hyundai Sonata. Unclear whether it belongs to the suspect. The only charges that we're aware of are armed robbery. As if that wasn't enough, there are multiple armed robberies associated with the suspect. Now on to Olive, southbound Olive from Washington Boulevard. Again, still traveling at relatively slow speeds here, really playing a game of cat and mouse with these LAPD units, not really showing signs of desperation here. Very controlled composure behind the wheel here as he continues to navigate the streets of downtown LA on the south side of the 10 freeway, continuing straight on Olive Street to, through 23rd there. And coming up on Adams Street, a left turn onto Adams. That'll put him in the southeast division here. Or Newton, I should say. Let's get a little closer. Okay. Copy that. We'll take a speed check here, doing about 25 miles per hour, 30 miles per hour down Adams Boulevard. Through another red light here. That's going to be San Pedro Street. LAPD crossing through with him through the red light. Half a dozen units putting a lot of pressure on this suspect, and he doesn't seem to be responding. In fact, he's just continuing this casual joyride down Adams Boulevard. Now making a southbound turn onto Central Avenue, continuing down Central now from Adams. Getting further south now as he continues this pursuit. Three red lights in a row as he continues to break every rule of the road here, refusing to pull over, continuing to blow through red lights, and only slowing down briefly when he sees cross traffic or pedestrian traffic in his way. But really, he's had lots of pavement to play with here as he continues through South LA here, now onto Jefferson Boulevard. Eastbound Jefferson, still holding steady at about 35, maybe 40 miles per hour. Worth repeating that there have been a number of suspects inside of this vehicle, and we don't know exactly how many are left. He has dropped off at least 2 or 3 other buddies during the course of this pursuit, and then kept on going. But whether he is a lone driver or whether there's somebody else in the vehicle, we will find out in due time when this comes to an end. But they are going to treat this with kid glove care, as they are under the impression that he is most likely armed with a weapon, and that's going to play into their decision making here. However, I suspect that if he continues to make these twists and turns, they will eventually find a spot to lay down some spike strips and try and slow him down a bit, maybe bring this to an end. But again, he's been a little bit unpredictable, kind of taking them through a number of different neighborhoods, all basically in the same general part of town between the Westlake District, downtown LA, where it all started, now just south of the 10 freeway again. So kind of meandering his way through downtown LA, between the Central, Rampart, and Newton divisions, just kind of making this up as he goes along. Now turning westbound onto Adams Boulevard from San Pedro. Westbound Adams off of San Pedro. We were here earlier. This is the second time he's made his way through that intersection, now traveling westbound. Picking up a little bit of speed here for sure. You can see that LAPD airship continuing to light him up now through Main Street. Now Broadway, continuing on Adams Boulevard. This is going to put him closer to the 110 freeway. For as long as this has been going on, he has yet to encounter any freeways that he's choosing to get onto. He's really comfortable on these surface streets, and I suspect the trend will continue here. As he comes up on the 110 freeway, he will probably go right underneath it. Or over it, I should say. There's the 110 overpass. Going around traffic here into the turn lane, trying to get around some of this congestion here at the 110 freeway. Now weaving around a little more car traffic to contend with here as he makes his way through Figueroa. Continuing westbound, making a northbound turn now onto Hoover. Doing a giant circle as he now heads back up towards the 10 freeway, northbound on Hoover. Another random left turn now going westbound on 25th Street. Still maintaining pretty moderate speeds here, relatively low speed chase as he kind of continues this pointless ride. I mean, they're really, he knows his time is almost up here. He's on borrowed time, to say the least, and it seems pretty obvious that he is going to either run out of fuel here or maybe just dump the vehicle. Whether he decides to give up peacefully and surrender or tries to make a run for it, anybody's guess here. But he is, again, not acting like a desperate man. He really just is enjoying this ride. And back on Vermont, where we have been In fact, when we first picked up this pursuit, he was traveling northbound on Vermont, and once again, he is northbound on Vermont at 24th, which is the area where he actually dropped off his buddies earlier. So he's made his way back into some familiar territory here, which is often the case with pursuits like this, as he now makes his way underneath the 10 freeway, coming out on the north side here in just a second. Northbound Vermont. A little bit of traffic into oncoming lanes of traffic as he came up on that red light. Now going the wrong way. Going the wrong way on Vermont. A much more dangerous situation if he encounters any more traffic here, but he's going to quickly make that left turn onto 20th Street, and that'll get him out of that little jam. But still, a sign of escalation here as he starts to pick up a little more speed and acts a little more daring. Those units doing a good job navigating that with him. He was able to make that turn relatively safely, and those units followed right behind him, now making another northbound turn onto Budlong. Budlong at 20th Street, and again, just about a block away from where he dumped another buddy off earlier in this pursuit. So he is circling some familiar territory for sure, and we may be seeing the end of this pursuit momentarily. We'll see here, but this is a very, very positive sign for those units down below there, because now they're in a much better position to set up with a spike strip at the end of one of these streets and try and pop those tires. So we'll see her now making a right turn rather, southbound on Vermont, doing a giant circle here, heading back towards the 10 freeway, but he's not. No, he's making the turn. He's just circling this block now. Circling the same block for the second time in a row, third time in this pursuit at least. And now we're going to be on the lookout for those spike strips. We'll stay ahead of him there. There's the air unit with eyes on the suspect coming out on Budlong, making a left turn. Now southbound Budlong from 20th and back underneath the 10 freeway. Spike strip set up, but did not look successful. Doing about 25, 35 miles per hour southbound on Budlong now. Coming up on Adams, he has a decision to make here, and he's going to make the westbound turn onto Adams. Now a left turn onto southbound Normandy. Once again, want to recap for you if you're just joining us live on abc7.com and our 24/7 streaming channels. Chris Christie up in Air 7 as we continue this LAPD pursuit through the streets of downtown LA, now into South LA territory here. Southbound on Normandy, armed robbery suspects being pursued by the department here with a half a dozen units on his tail, applying a lot of pressure, but this is a slow-speed pursuit of a driver who is refusing to pull over. He has blown through just about every red light in town and has dropped off several pals over the course of this pursuit. So we do not know how many people are left in the car here, but the driver still refusing to pull over and believed to be armed and associated with a multitude of armed robberies that they are aware of. So they are desperate to get this guy in custody. They are not showing any signs of letting up, especially at these manageable speeds here. He has been zigzagging his way through the area, including downtown LA and the high rises off of the 10 of the 110 freeway, but he has never been on the freeway, just really traversing surface streets and now continuing southbound on Normandy Avenue, coming up on the 40s with little traffic in his way. When he does see traffic, we've seen signs of desperation as he just goes around traffic, but not at terribly fast speeds, just kind of a tactic to keep it going and get around to try and avoid those units from getting too close. But really, he is not spooked by those ground units at all, and the LAPD airship has had really good eyes on him during the entire course of this pursuit. You can see that night sun right on him. He is well aware of the eyes that are on him. He is just enjoying his final minutes of freedom here as he continues this joyride down Normandy Avenue. Now westbound on 48th Street from Normandy. You have ICOM? Okay, copy that. Let me know if you hear anybody, because I don't hear anybody. Suspect continuing southbound on Western Avenue as we prepare for our 11 o'clock broadcast on Eyewitness News at 11 o'clock. The suspect now continuing these games as he now makes another left turn onto Slauson Avenue from Western through South Central. Hey, Matt, I've got you. Copy that. Oh boy. Yeah, we're going to lose it. Yep. Copy. That's right, Mark. Southbound Normandy, as they make their way through South LA, you can see a number of LAPD units right on his tail here, applying a lot of pressure on this suspect who is being engaged in a slow-speed pursuit through the streets of downtown LA, now firmly in South LA, just making a right turn now off of Normandy. He has made a lot of repeat loops through South LA and through the downtown area where they have had the opportunity to set up for spike strips, but have failed to actually execute a good one just yet. And that is because, well, they really have limited options otherwise. They are under the impression that this is an armed robber behind the wheel of this blue Hyundai Sonata. There have been a number of people inside the vehicle, and during the course of this pursuit, Mark, he has dropped off several buddies along the way. But some serious crimes, in fact, multiple armed robberies associated with these suspects and with this vehicle. And so that is going to most likely take a pit maneuver off the table. They are treating this with kid glove care, applying a lot of resources, a lot of pressure, ground units, and the airship right overhead here as he continues to traverse the streets of South LA, now making a left turn to Western Avenue once again, I believe. Yeah, he's covered a lot of real estate, and he's returned to the same neighborhoods, the same general areas for the most part. Now we're kind of venturing a little further south for the first time that we are aware of. It's been going on for the better part of an hour or so, but again, he was really staying close to the 10 freeway near Budlong and Vermont in that area. He was really kind of going back and forth, doing a number of circles. He did the same thing over in the Westlake area as well. Seems to be playing cat and mouse with these officers, but not trying to get away desperately, not breaking any speed records, really traveling at a very moderate pace here as he continues to kind of just use up whatever fuel is left in that gas tank. Again, he has not been cooperative, not even showed signs of pulling over, although when we were in downtown, you got the impression maybe he was looking for an opportunity to hide out and dump the vehicle, but he didn't. He kept on going and has resurfaced in South LA, where he has provided those units on the ground with limited opportunity to really bring this to an end. It's a little bit, honestly, tough to tell. We're actually navigating LAX's Bravo airspace. We're traveling southbound, and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, is he actually, we're looking out towards the northwest, right? And he is going northbound, Mark. You're right about that. And it even looks like he might be picking up a little bit of speed, but I've got to be honest, with this shot, I am losing my bearings, quite frankly.
Okay, 10-4.
Hey there, Matt. You want to come back to us? Copy. Yeah, me too. Left turn or U-turn? Yep. Yeah, that's right, Mark. It's come to an end along Gramercy Place near 62nd Street after the suspect randomly turned off onto a curb next to a commercial building, now boxed in by LAPD at gunpoint. We don't have a clear visual of the suspect because he's right behind that tree on the top right-hand corner of your screen. He does not appear to have much space to run, but it does appear to be turning into a little bit of a standoff as he is not complying, or at least it does not sound like he is complying with those officers' commands, but they do have him at gunpoint and they are attempting to coax him out of that vehicle. Of course, we will keep it right here and bring you the latest as this develops, but it does appear as though the suspect is not cooperating. He is behind that tree up on the curb on inside of that blue Hyundai Sonata. Again, a lengthy pursuit this evening that has zigzagged its way all the way through South LA. If you looked at it on a map in the last few minutes, he's really done a number of S's through the entire area, just making very random turns. And now it appears the driver is out of the vehicle, stepping away from the car, up against the wall with his hands up, and it does finally appear as though this predicament has come to an end as they try and get him to surrender peacefully here. He is up against the wall. They're going to approach him very, very carefully as he is believed to be armed, but it does appear as though he has reached his limit. Mark? We don't. In fact, they're going to attempt to clear that vehicle right now. Unfortunately, we can't see it because it's all happening behind that tree. But we will find out here momentarily whether there is anybody else inside. There were at least 2 people dropped off, maybe even more than that. But at least 2 that we are aware of. They are in custody. They were probably providing some degree of intel for those officers as they continued this pursuit for the better part of the last hour or so, and now it does appear as though they are about to give the code for the all clear here. Unclear, though, whether there is anybody else behind that tree. Again, difficult to tell. Visibility's been an obstacle for us this whole evening here. It did end near LAX's Bravo airspace here, so very congested up here in the air, very congested down there on the ground. You can see a little bit of crowd control as they start to shut down the intersections at Gramercy Place and 2nd Street. Yellow tape going up. We will wait to see if there is anybody else inside of that vehicle. Mark? They had a little bit of an issue with some folks trying to engage with the pursuit, so I think this may be a form of just holding everybody at bay. They have given the code 4, so the situation is now resolved. It does not appear that anybody has been injured. Only the one driver that we saw there appears to be in custody. Thank you, Van Nuys.